Manifest on the opening of memory of mankind and humanity, the right of every being to be human and the complete manifestation of its energies without matrix limitations. The proposed version of the main manifest is the basis for understanding its goals. You don't have to pronounce the paragraphs that are not of interest to you. You can add your own words and wishes. The paragraph number 10 will be your personal paragraph, and you can create it in advance and read it yourself at your meeting in the fields of our common intention. This manifest is broadcast in all spaces, to all levels, plans, hierarchies, structures, and systems directly or indirectly related to the civilization of mankind. We humans, experiencing in ourselves the experiments of control structures, realise the unreasonableness of this existing order in our sector of the universe. We consider destructive the experiment of covering and blocking memory, imposing life plan scenarios, involving beings in the endless cycles of incarnations, and basic potential energy being continuously taken from living energies of beings who are going through the experience of incarnation in physical bodies. Based on the freedom of expression law of the being and the subsequent rights of every being to manage their own energies and consciousness, then we, as humanity, as well as every being regardless of its location and the reality lived, and who choose also to add their voice to our manifest, require the reorganisation of the following processes. 1. From this day forth, on the being's entering of the incarnation, it should not experience the mandatory memory closure, including but not limited to the memory of history of the being, its origins, basic energies and personal goals, as well as its experiences. The being itself has a full right to independently decide what to remember and of which part of the memory to leave in an inactive state inside its consciousness. The being has a full right to activate the memory by making a conscious request, even during the incarnation. 2. The being entering the incarnation must have a clear understanding why it needs this experience, also with whom, and for what reasons it's prepared to interact in a harmonious way during the human life. Which basic energies it wants to express, what good they can bring to society and their independent living spaces based on the harmonious expression of their energies and basic abilities, what it wants to gain from others, and what, at the end, would become their sign and milestone for reaching the targeted achievements. All personal intentions must be openly voiced by the being and must not go against nor contradict safety, wholeness and harmony of other beings and Gaia herself. We demand a stop to the creating of life scenarios that are based solely on the interests of any one structure. We also demand openness as well as ceasing the hidden manipulations of beings' energies both during and in between incarnations. 3. We demand the withdrawal of all phantom formations, energies, consciousness and programs taking part in playing scenario plans on Gaia. We want to have real life experiences and not the artificially made primitive scenarios of programmed minds which are alien to intuitive thinking, empathy and deep sensual perception of the surrounding reality. 4. We are not willing to lessen our energies, consciousness and qualities with the programs of the implanted human personality, and we demand the right to refuse it before the incarnation or directly whilst being incarnated. Additionally, we demand to stop the manipulation and influence on the part of any structures to make impossible the removal of the human personality by the being itself through an artificial increasing of fears and doubt, as well as the impact on the energy and physical well-being of the human and their being. Instead of an artificial personality, we want to form it ourselves as a human being by manifesting the true energies and qualities of our own being. We demand the free right of every being to enter the incarnation without a human personality, if the being so chooses to. Instead of this, every being can build a protective shell between itself and the materialistic reality from its own energies, realising the plan of its manifestation in this reality as a human and taking full responsibility for their decisions and actions. If the being chooses an experience of manifestation in the reality of a person through the human personality provided by the structures of the hierarchy, then after exiting from the incarnation, this personality must be completely annulled as the experience of living in this embodiment is transferred to the memory cells of the being, and so the energies used by the personality must be returned to the being. If before the next incarnation the being considers such experiences appropriate, the being participates in the formation of a new personality for itself and creates one for its new tasks and plans. 5. We demand to introduce to Akashia the service of the analyst of the personal development of each being passing through the cycles of incarnations, so that the being can turn to this information and understand its mistakes, its achievements, and if necessary, adjust the further plans it has. One of the parameters of the analyst service should be the data on the potential of personal energy of the being at the moment of entering and exiting the incarnation, so that the being understands what exactly the price of experiments are and to prevent further losses of its energy potential without repeating the previous mistakes. 6. We demand to outlaw any intrusion on the being's memory without its informed consent, and in case of a complaint of violent acts on the part of the being itself, to recognise its right to protect the personal space and return the removed parts of the crystal of consciousness as well as energies, including any other personal artefacts and any energy informational structures that truly belong to this being. 7. By reading this manifest out loud, every being declares its free will to the guiding hierarchy system to disable all equipment both inside or outside which it uses to cloak or block the memory of this being, as well as its basic qualities and abilities. By declaring this, the being consciously makes the decision to terminate all agreements with this hierarchy system since the proclamation of this manifest. 8. We demand the end of the process of cutting down energy potential of the beings entering the incarnation and keeping the energy pieces in storage as a mandatory condition for entering the incarnation. Our experience of living in a human body demonstrates the destruction of the opinion that the body will burn out because of excess energy or that the surrounding population will be burned. It is quite enough to teach the beings to allocate their energy potential on their personal vertical with the self-allocated input of energies directly into the body to maintain balance in the human system prior to the incarnation. 9. We demand to recognise officially on every hierarchical level of this universe that any blocking of a being's personal channel of connection with its creator or world and memory about itself or its own basic energies by any structure or someone who is in direct violation of free will law and being's vital manifestation. So, every being has a right of personal support to eliminate this hierarchy blocking. Now let everyone express their personal wishes and requirements related to this topic of this manifest. You are given time for it. Thus, every human or being who, having read the manifest and consciously confirmed it with own intention, assures this document with their personal energy signature and adds their voice to the general collective demand. We are waiting for an adequate response from hierarchy and other structures whose interests are affected by this manifest. In addition, we are ready to consider the initiative and proposals from any part. Let it be so.